Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I might get started. Welcome everyone to the UN Global Compact Network Australia and today's virtual open house session. Next slide, please, Amelia. My name is, firstly, I would like to acknowledge that this presentation is being held on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. My name is Greta Korthaus. I'm the Stakeholder Engagement Manager at the UN Global Compact Network Australia. Feel free to share in the chat box your name, where you're joining from, and why you're here today. This session is being recorded and it will be shared with anyone who has registered. So you will receive an email with the recording link. Next slide, please. As this is a virtual open house, please e-meet the team. There are 9 of us, and most of us are Melbourne-based, except one of the staff members being based in Sydney. Next slide, please. Before we begin, I'd like to run over housekeeping. You can use the chat function to introduce yourself and to find links that we will be sharing during today's presentation. Please use the Q&A function to ask questions. And if you have any technical issues, you can contact us on the phone number listed on the slide. We will have a bit of time to respond to questions that have come through the Q&A function at the end of today's session. Next slide, please. In today's presentation, we will introduce ourselves both on the global and local level. We will talk about how we support business, talk you through the benefits and the business case of joining the Global Compact, and explain how you can join the initiative, unless you already have done so. And we will answer your questions. And with that, let's get started with the next slide, please. In 1999, it was the former Secretary General Kofi Annan who proposed to initiate a global compact of shared values and principles to give a human face to the global market. 40 companies and their CEOs signed up at that time to create what is now the UN Global Compact, and that was nearly 23 years ago. Next slide. Next slide, please. Thank you. The UNGC is now the world's largest sustainability initiative. Members commit to align their strategies and operations with the 10 principles, which you can see here, the pillars for them, and also commit to advance the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. The 10 principles cover human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption, and they are at the heart of the Global Compact. Every CEO of participating companies of the UN Global Compact commits to embedding these principles into their business strategy and business operations. They are a common ethical and practical framework for operationalizing corporate responsibility. If you click one more time, Amelia, we can see the SDGs. In addition, we have a mandate to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals. They are a set of goals that articulate clearly what it is that we mean by the world that we all want. They represent aspirational long-term targets for businesses and other stakeholders. Working in a valued and principled way towards a set of ambitious goals is the way that we together can deliver the world that we all want. Next slide, please. Since that time of early leadership and development of the set of principles, many organizations have joined. Participation has grown with over 16,000 companies across 163 countries, working in partnership with 3,800 plus non-business participants in a multi-sector approach. We can drive scale in a way that no other corporate sustainability initiative can, because we have 64 local networks with local and regional activities to help companies to deliver according to these principles. In Australia in particular, we have over 240 business participants in the network contributing to the sustainability agenda, but also non-business participants such as civil society and associations working with us. Next slide, please. Why join the UN Global Compact? We know that the world is not on track to deliver on the SDGs. If we look at gender, at the rate we are going now, it will take 268 years to close the economic gender gap globally. A significant point is that before COVID-19, it was 257 years. So there has been a loss in progress due to the pandemic. We also know about the climate change issue as we're tracking towards 3 degrees, with global warming predicted to reach over 3 degrees by 2100. On bribery and corruption, the annual cost of bribery is $1.5 to $2 trillion lost, 2% of the global GDP. Overall, we're 62 years behind schedule on the Social Progress Index. Next slide, please. The focus is on scaling impact collectively and through collaboration. We mobilize a global movement of sustainable companies and stakeholders to create the world we all want. Next slide. We have identified 7 focus areas, also known as our shape and lead areas, where the business community can have a strong impact. We have designed a portfolio of initiatives to help you deliver on them. They are human rights, labor and decent work, climate change, anti-corruption, gender equality, and the overall integration of the SDGs, as well as transformational governance. These are at the heart of the UNGC 10 principles and the UN SDGs. With the other UN SDGs, we will continue cooperating with others and will follow and amplify. Next slide. Thank you. To bring the ambition alive, the UN Global Compact, together with the UNGCNA, us, support companies in the following 4 ways: connect, learn, lead, and communicate. In the next couple of minutes, we will talk through what this means in more detail. Next slide, please. On the screen here, you see some of our global and regional flagship events that happened this year. These events are complimentary and open to all employees within our participants. With over 30,000 event attendees on an annual basis, our events offer unparalleled networking opportunities with industry leaders and peers. This year, during the UN 77th session of the General Assembly, we organized a series of events at our New York headquarters, including a CEO roundtable with the UN Secretary General and a group of CEOs, a Sustainable Investment Forum for CFOs, and the Private Sector Forum for anyone who is interested in sustainability. In the region, in June, we had a full-day event in Bangkok on the UN SCAP headquarters, at the UN SCAP headquarters in partnership with UN SCAP, which is the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, with topics prioritized for the region, such as biodiversity, SME engagement, and SDG integration. This month, we had several events during COP27. Events offer high-level multi-stakeholder dialogues, local knowledge, and support on the implementation of strategies, partnership and leadership examples. In addition to in-person experiences, the online access is always complimentary to all participating companies and employees. Next slide, please. We run several regional and thematic events and offer a range of engagement opportunities. Last year, the Local Network Australia hosted over 25 events, including large dialogues and forums. This year, we have continued to deliver events such as our annual Australian Dialogue on Business and Human Rights, as well as our Australian Dialogue on Anti-Bribery and Corruption earlier this month. We also hold an Insight series covering emerging topics in a webinar format. We provide membership and participant benefits presentations, such as this one here today. Major conferences will be held every 2 years to bring people together in person. Our website hosts a number of publications which are available for download for free, and we host publication launches with the authors. When there are updates or changes in the landscape, we create timely events. An example is our 21 Days to COP27 webinar recently. In 2023, we will be introducing peer learning groups, which will be delivered locally, regionally, and globally for companies to learn from each other and share experiences on a particular subject. These will be run on an annual basis, and recruitment will begin shortly. And another novelty is, and we will have to go to the next slide for this, please, our modern slavery community of practice for SMEs. After much success of the modern slavery community of practice, or MSCOP as we call it, which have previously been held only for companies required to report under the Modern Slavery Act, we have decided to hold one specifically for SMEs, who are often also impacted by this legislation as suppliers to larger companies. This is a by invitation only offering to our participants and will commence on the 5th of December, held virtually. We just kicked off our third SDG Ambition Accelerator in October, and more about this and other accelerator programs in a minute when we further talk about learning opportunities. Regarding the presentations and publications section on the right-hand side, please note that even if you cannot attend, these sessions will get recorded, and the link to those recordings will be shared with anyone who has registered. For interested businesses or those who need a bit of a refresher about the history and purpose of the United Nations Global Compact, we're holding sessions such as today's virtual open house, as well as participant benefits presentations and SME benefits presentations. Our Insight series are finished for this year, and the recordings are available on our YouTube channel. We now look into learning opportunities. Next slide, please, one further. Thank you. We offer 3 accelerator programs, which run over 6 months, focusing on specific thematic areas. Accelerator programs are very suitable for both SMEs and larger organizations and present a great peer learning and networking opportunity. They are based on thought leadership work and are designed for companies to make tangible changes in the processes and activities of their business. It is a program to enable businesses to really set goals and take the action to deliver. The Climate Ambition Accelerator is designed to provide businesses with the base knowledge and skills needed to accelerate progress towards achieving net zero emissions, including how to set a science-based target. Participating businesses will gain access to global best practices, peer-to-peer learning sessions, capacity building sessions, and on-demand training. Participants will be asked to nominate 2 representatives. However, only 1 representative is expected to join the live sessions. In total, participants can expect to dedicate 25 to 30 hours to the Climate Ambition Accelerator over the 6 months. The SDG Ambition Accelerator also is a 6-month accelerator program that will challenge and support participating companies of the UN Global Compact in setting ambitious corporate targets and accelerating the integration of the SDGs into core business management. And our Business and Human Rights Accelerator has just been launched. We will be running this for the first time starting in February 2023. It will help your organization to move from commitment to action on human rights and labor rights. Emilia is sharing the link with you should you be interested in learning more. Please note that membership of the UN GCNA is required to join these accelerator programs. Next slide, please. Our UN Global Compact digital library is designed to help you find the resources you need to take the next step on your sustainability journey. There are many forms of guidance. Some examples on the slide include the family-friendly workplace guidance, or for example, the SDG Ambition Guide, which aids in ambitious goal setting to deliver the 2030 agenda for the SDGs. Also showcased on this slide is our Integrating the SDGs into Corporate Reporting Practical Guide. This guide outlines a 3-step process to embed the Sustainable Development Goals into existing business and reporting processes. We at the UN Global Compact Network Australia produce guidance across our fields, such as our publication Fighting Bribery in Business, which is a guide for risk, compliance, and sustainability teams implementing adequate anti-bribery procedures. Also very important, I'd like to point to our publication Building a Net Zero Future, Australian Businesses Taking Science-Based Climate Action. In general, the UN GCNO is open to suggestions and working alongside participants. Next slide, please. Here on this slide, you can see some screenshots of offerings such as our bite-sized learning videos. We also have a podcast series that covers topics such as ethical investment and the SDGs, the path to net zero, etc. Our news and events page gets updated according to upcoming events and learning opportunities. And I recommend subscribing to our monthly bulletin, which provides an up-to-date summary of anything coming up globally, regionally, and locally that is relevant to our participants. Now to training, and the next slide, please. Within training, there is the Global Compact Academy, which is available to all organizations and all employees of companies engaging with the Global Compact. There are virtual how-to sessions on key areas towards delivering the goals. There are e-learning courses to help participants learn concepts in their own time. The Influencer series is for prominent leaders from businesses and the United Nations to help people understand the leadership area and new sustainability issues coming forward. The Academy is accessible to all staff. I think I've said it 3 times, but it's very important. And learning modules can be downloaded onto your own digital learning platforms where available. Next slide, please. And one more, thank you. As the digital learning platform, the Academy is available anytime from anywhere. On the screen, you see a map of the Academy platform landing page. So don't worry if you don't get it all. We have video tutorials in multiple languages available to guide you. The platform also allows detailed tracking both at individual and the organization level. Next slide, and then to the next again, please. Coalitions. Coalitions are created to form thought leadership on a particular issue area to deliver the UN SDGs. We work with companies and partners such as other specialized UN entities and organizations in these multi-stakeholder coalitions. We have, for example, the CEO Water Mandate, which is targeting improved outcomes for 3 billion people in over 100 basins, representing a scale target. The Ocean Stewardship and Science-Based Targets are targeting scale initiative across oceans and climate emissions goals. The CFO Task Force is a group of large companies to scale their corporate finance, which has a scale target of 1,000 companies to join, and for 50% of the corporate investment to be SDG linked through various financial instruments. This will be a target of about $500 billion. Next slide, communicate, and the next slide again. The first step is the submission of your communication on progress every year. We call it COP in short. Businesses will report through a public reporting platform on a list of 60 questions starting next year. While this helps us track progress, it also enables companies that are beginning their sustainability journey to understand what the right priorities are and the levels of progress already being made. Once companies have this understanding, it assists in setting goals that each business should be tracking towards in the coming years. This enables us to track our global collective impact too. The data platform will be public and available to everyone to be able to look at sectors, goals, and functioning practices. This is a way of disclosing progress. All information about the communication on progress can be found via the link that Emilia is now sharing. Thank you. And the next slide, please. All participants of the UN Global Compact get a participant profile. This is a space to be able to discuss current practices and showcase the initiatives and best practices throughout the business. I understand there's an update on the way, so I'm not sure how this is going to look in 2023, but I'm sure it can only be improved. Next slide, please. You can communicate your participation in the UN Global Compact to your key stakeholders by using our media toolkit, which will help amplify your sustainability journey. I know we have some existing participants on the call, so if you are not aware of this media toolkit or you're not sure where to find it, please reach out to me. I can resend it to you. Next slide, please. A couple of sentences on the business case. Next slide again, please. There is a strong business case for sustainability. When a company embeds sustainability in its strategy and practice, it drives better profitability, higher corporate valuation, and a lower cost of capital. This business case model shows, based on data and studies, that when a company embeds sustainability in its strategy and practices, it leads to improved customer loyalty, improved employee relations, improved innovation. Companies that embed sustainability in their strategy also see strong operational efficiency and risk management. It improves sales and marketing practices, and we can see improved supplier relations where you really understand the commitment to people throughout the supply chain. All of this together drives better profitability, higher corporate valuation, and a lower cost of capital. Now, next slide, and a bit of information as to how to join. Joining the UN Global Compact is easy. The first step is to review the application guidelines. The second step is the preparation of the letter of commitment. In this letter, your organization commits to the 10 principles and to together help us achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The third step is to fill out the online application form. Next slide, please. And a summary of the benefits. The UN Global Compact provides a universal language for corporate responsibility and provides a framework to guide all businesses, regardless of size, complexity, or location. We are your guide every step of the way. We'll help you commit to, assess, define, implement, measure, and communicate your sustainability strategy. UNGCNA participants have unprecedented networking access to other UN Global Compact participants who are representing nearly every industry sector and size in over 160 countries through a range of exclusive member-only events. They help shape national and international dialogue through the UNGC's thought leadership work and consultations with government on emerging and critical issues. And they have access to partnerships and other opportunities for collaboration with a range of stakeholders to share best practices and emerging solutions. Next slide, please. So here's a recap of how you can join the Global Compact. Complete the application form, including providing a letter of commitment signed by the highest level executive. And once you have been approved globally, you can complete your membership to join us, the UNGCNA. A quick side note, but important one, that for those of you who are global participants, but not yet participants of the Global Compact Network Australia, excuse me, you will be required to join the Global Compact Network Australia before the end of 2022 to avoid delisting from the global page. And global membership, it's a new requirement as part of the transition to the new business model. Contact us, me, if you would like to discuss the initiative further, if you need help with your application or any questions that you might have. Once you've joined up, we'll get you set up with access to the UN Global Compact's dashboard, the UNGCNA's participant area, and ensure that your logo and organization profile are on our website. Again, I will be your best point of contact for any questions and to assist you in the process. Now, we have gone through this very fast, so I'm more than happy to go through questions. We've reached the end of our presentation, and so I'll invite you to use the Q&A function should you have questions. I'm going to have a quick look if anything has come through. I don't believe so.
Hey, Greta, it's Amelia here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. There are just a couple of questions in the chat function as well that have been sent to us privately. So there are two questions there, and I might just read them out to while you're having a look there. So the first question is the UN Alliance for Sustainable Fashion also a coalition that members can join? Curious to know how we might partake in this. The second question is, how long does it take from application to membership? Roughly how many weeks or months?
Okay, great. Thank you. The UN Alliance for Sustainable Fashion, to my knowledge, is not something that we are currently working with. However, I'll reach out to Simiyao Yu, our Participant Engagement Regional Manager, who is the one who would probably know most about this and might know a little bit more about what's on the agenda for 2023. So please leave it with me. And Emilia, are you able to see who has submitted this question so we can get back?
Yes, we can do that.
Amazing, thank you. Application to membership. Thank you. That's a great question. If we assume that you join, that you submit your global application today, including your letter of commitment signed by the highest level executive, it takes roughly 2 weeks to be approved globally. Sometimes questions come up, which means that the global team would reach out to you via email to ask for clarification. Let's, for example, assume that they are unclear about the industry that you work for example, or work in. So that's usually about 2 weeks. If it's urgent, we can accelerate that process. So you can reach out to me and I can talk to the global team. Once your application has been approved, all you need to do to join us on the local network level is to fill in and sign and return your membership form. Again, all of this information is available on our website, on the Join Us page, which Emilia has shared earlier. And we will then invoice you for your participation. And once you've paid for that invoice, you become a local network member. I hope that answers the question. I think that a few comments have come through. 1 second. Oh, thank you, Kylie, for the clarification. So I'm just going to read that out loud. The UN Global Compact is a participant in the UN Alliance for Sustainable Fashion. Apologies, I didn't know that. We can find out what opportunities there are for UN Global Compact participants to get involved. More information on the initiative is provided by a link that Kylie has just shared. Thank you. I'm just going to scroll up to see if further questions have come through. Thank you, Rosanna. Great. I can see within the chat box, someone has asked, are members of the UNGC Australia dominated by any particular industry? Is there a good industry representation? Any education industry members? That's a great question. Thank you very much, Mitchell. Are we dominated by a particular industry? I don't think so. We have a range of industry representatives from mining to fashion, speaking of fashion, to large supermarket chains. We have the professional services industry represented, consulting agencies. We work with civil society, universities, and associations. When you jump on our website and go to About Us, you find a participants button that you click on. You can see all our current members listed on that page, with the non-business members listed at the bottom. That's been answered. Any other question messages? 1 second. How do we find out if a company is part of a global Australia network? Can a company be part of more than one local network? Fabulous questions. So there's 2 ways to find out where you are sort of participating. Firstly, there's a global page, and I can quickly see if I can find this on the side as I'm talking to you, where you can type in your company name. I'll share this with you right now at the top, and you can find out if you are a global participant. That's the link. And what might be the case is that you are an Australian subsidiary to an overseas headquartered organization. So I'll give you one example. We have a local participant, L'Oréal, who are headquartered in France. So their French headquarters are participants in France, but they're also automatically the parent organization to the Australian subsidiary, meaning that the communication on progress we talked about earlier only needs to be submitted by headquarters and not by the Australian subsidiary arm. Sorry, your other question, I've just lost that. Can a company be part of more than one local network? So yes, so another, I'll use L'Oréal again. So L'Oréal has several company arms around the world, meaning that their parent organization is registered in France, and there are subsidiary memberships around the world for this organization. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. It is definitely possible. However, if you are a local network member here in Australia, you can't at the same time be a local network member in another country. It just wouldn't provide you any further benefit, I guess. Scrolling up. I don't think I get a new message. Great. I can't see any further questions. Emilia, have I missed anything?
There's nothing else that I can see. Looks like you've covered it all.
Amazing, lovely. Well, you've got our details. Please reach out. I'd be more than happy to send through further information or to hold a meeting with you directly. If you like, and I would absolutely appreciate it, please provide some feedback of today's presentation. We will learn a lot from that. I look forward to hearing from you should you have questions or wish to join us, which I very much hope. And again, you will receive an email in the next couple of days that has the recording of today in it, as well as links to the topics we have covered. So thank you very much. Thank you, Sonia. Have a great afternoon, everyone.